Hello, hi everyone, I'm your Tamil again. If you guys watching this video and listening to my audio, for sure guys, you guys do realize the power of audio-visual communication. Although we are using this audio-visual communication since this storage, most of us not really know what is the audio-visual communication is. For that, me and my team going to present a presentation on audio-visual aided strategic public communication for you guys. Before jumping into that, let us introduce about ourselves first. We are doing Bachelor of Strategic Communication in Univers. My name is Tamil Elegant. My metric number is 76989.
Hi everyone, I'm Charles Ziho, members of Group 9.
Good morning everyone, my name is Julie Binti Saleh. My ID student is 77259.
Hi guys, my name is Mindy Valerie Anna Kesley. My matric number is 75644. I was the member of Group 9.
Hi, my name is Nur Farahim binti Mansur Join. My metric number is 76202 and I'm a member of Group 9.
Hi, I'm Olivia Anajarai, 76524 and a member of Group 9.
Hello, my name is Prerna Kathleen Anakene Nelson and my metric number is 77537. I am from Group 9.
Hi again. I am now going to give a brief introduction on audio-visual aided communication. The audio-visual aids in public strategic communication is a productive form of strategy in communication to communicate with the public. Using sound and lighting equipments improve communication by heightening the awareness of your audiences or the public's sight and hearing. Audio-visual aids in strategic communication make it easier for your audiences or public to psychologically access and remember information once they have left the event or the presentation. Now, let's have a look on types of audio visuals in the communication.
Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Mindy and I would like to talk about my point of view for type of presentation aids. So for my first point, which is the audio and video, I would like to talk about. And as we all know, the audio is a term that used to describe any sound, any voice that can be heard by human ears. And audio can include a cassette tape or a compact disc. Audio is important in a presentation as it can maintain a high level of interest in every speech or every presentation. Audio is also can be more existing for any presentation as it can attract more audience to listen and understanding what the presenter is talking about. As for video, video is a recording of moving pictures and sound. Video capture and audio attention immediately and sometimes beginning a presentation with a video is what the audience needs. And for them to pay attention what the presenter wanted to present. People from all levels of education are exposed to video presentation as it can give a much breadth for the presenter and the audience as what they are needed. So I will presenting for you my second point for the type of presentation as which is graph. Graph is a common method to perform the relationship between a set of data virtually. Graph is important when presenting ideas that included the references of a data. Graph can be a powerful method, but it also can be method for the presentation when they convey a wrong message. It gives the audience confusing with what they are trying to talk for their presentation. Graph is important as it can be one easy way to enhance the message of your presentation. There are three types of graph, which are bar graph, line graph, and pie graph. So for bar graph is a graph that horizontally shows the difference in individual values, while for the line graph is a graph that designed to show trends over the time, and for the pie graph is to show the parts or percentage of a whole set of data. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Farahin. I will continue my friend presentations, Mindy, about type of presentations at. I will continue with point number 3 and number 4. For point number 3 is about chart. Chart is one of presentations at that important. Chart is sketchings representing an order of process. There are 3 types of chart, which are statistical chart, sequence of chart, and decision tree. Each chart has their own function. For example, statistical chart, it is being used because it can simply explain how a person should interpret any data that presented. For example, number 2 is about sequence of step chart. It is for deliver detailed informations and give brief meanings to audience. For example, number 3 is about decision tree. Decision tree is being used because it helps speaker to make audience visualize a data that presented by speaker. Next point is about multimedia. Multimedia is one of presentation aids. Multimedia. What is multimedia? Multimedia consists a set of media which are an image, text, audio, and video. It is used in presenting because it can attract things and influence the audience to their presentations. That is our presentations about type of presentations act.
Thank you to my group members for the explanation just now. Today, I will explain about the type of presentation. So let me start. The most important tips of presentation ads is it can be easily seen or heard by your audience. If the audience in the back of the room cannot see, hear, or otherwise experience a presentation ad, then it is counterproductive to use it. The elements in your presentation ad have to be large enough to read and see, and the audio have to be loud enough to be heard by the audience. It does not have to be utterly devoid of style, but it is better to readable and not distracting the audience. For the second tips, in your presentation ad, you should not write everything out to avoid your slide looks complicated to be read and understand. You should watch how to use words on the screen, and you have to try to avoid not to put too much information on the slide. Avoid to use the complicated sentence in your slide to make sure your audience easily understand your slide, unless it is very important information for your audience and you have to explain back to them the meanings. Okay, so we move to the third tips. Presentation software is an aid, and this is mean that it should aid and not hinder your presentation. We used to see that too many students who only end up by reading the slide right off the screen instead of using the slide to enhance their presentation. As an advice, if you ever find yourself being forced to turn back to the audience to read the screen, it is mean you are not effectively using the technology. This tip just to make sure that your audience will not feel bored with your presentation, because if there is no eye contact between the speaker and the audience, it will make your presentation not that interesting, because they think they can read and see the slide that you read by their own, and what you have to do is just explain your point in more depth. Okay, so for the fourth tips, for your information, colors have a main role in your presentation, and it is important and can make a strong impact to the audience. In your presentation ads, you should avoid to use unappealing combinations of colors. Okay, for example, try to not use the light font colors on the light background colors, because it's going to make yourself or your audience difficult to read it. Not only that, before choosing any colors, we have to consider for the audience that might have a color blind, and many of them are blue-green or red-green colors blind, and you have to avoid putting these colors next to each other. Okay, for the last tip is you have to watch your slide movement and try to not use too much animation on it. We know that animations and transition between slides or even on single slide can be fun, but if too much movement, it can distract your audience focus. Those cool slide movement and other bells and whistles are not that always helpful for your presentation. If you are going to utilize slide transition or word animation, make sure stick to only 3 to 4 different types of transition in your whole presentation. For the next explanation, I will pass it to my friend Zulia.
The 5 advantages of presentation ads is, the first one is improve audience understanding. As a speaker, your basic goal is to make your audience understand your message. So, presentation ads can be used to clarify or to emphasize your listener. The second is adding retention and recall. Presentation ads can boost your memory while you are speaking. For example, if the information about the diamond, you might display a sequence slide illustrating the most popular diamond shapes. The third is memorable. Most of how people learn is through saying things, so the visual component of learning is very important. The fourth is adding variety and interest. For example, you may have prepared a very good speech to inform a group of gardeners about the several variety of roses suitable for growing in your local area. You can understand and remember your speech, but you can imagine that your audience would be more enthralled if you had the ability to display some of roses variety in a bud vase. Okay, the last one is enhancing a speaker credibility. That means the audience will see you as a knowledge, competent, and a credible speaker. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Zulia. I will continue the next presentation where I will explain about the disadvantages of presentation ads. First and foremost, we know that the use of the presentation ads need a lot of presentation materials and take a lot of time for you to make a preparation before you present it. This may be really time consuming, and you may end up giving more time to this preparation than your speech. It might distract your focus on your speech, and it might give an impact to your delivery speech or presentation. It is because you spend too much time to prepare the materials and not practice enough on how to deliver your speech. Secondly, the use of presentation aids may also distract your audience. It may distract them from your speech because they pay more attention on the presentation aids that you use than listening to your speech. Ultimately, it will make the purpose of your speech may not be fulfilled. It is because tech-heavy slides leave your audience reading rather than listening to your speech. Presentation technologies, when we use ineffectively, it can distract your audience away from you. Other than that, the use of presentation aids is not always necessary in your presentation. This is because building a computer-based presentation that lacks any real substance may harm the impact of your presentation. It is said that listing keywords haphazardly on slides confuse the audience rather than helping them. It will make your audience wondering on what is your real purpose is. Last but not least, if you are using presentation technology such as PowerPoint presentation, you might rely on it to the point of alienating your audience. With this, you might face the projecting screen constantly refer to the presentation rather than you facing your audience. This will increase the risk of you reading the screen to your audience rather than truly engaging with them. This also could make you hover over the computer screen and mouse rather than making use of your space and moving around the room while deliver your speech or sharing information. Lastly, sometimes technology can be helpful to us and had its own specialty too. But it also can cause a trouble to us sometimes, such as technical problems. This problem can hamper your presentations and lead to an awkward delay on your speech or presentation. This situation also might leave your audience bored while waiting for you to fix the technical troubles. To avoid from this happen, you have to check everything first before start your presentation and make sure everything is in a good condition. That's all explanation about the disadvantages from me. For the next presentation, I will let my group member.
Hi, my name is Verna Keflin and Akane Nelson, and my metric number is 77537. I am a group member of group number 9. Today, I will present about ethical consideration for using presentation aids in strategic public communication. There are important ethical considerations when using presentation aids in strategic public communication. Later, I will present about specific guidelines that individuals can follow to ensure that the presentation aids is an appropriate representation of the truth. The first content that I will present is ethical consideration. Using presentation aids in strategic public communication can add another dimension to your message through the use of graphs, charts, lines, photos, illustration, and many more. There are ethical considerations to review in order to represent the information correctly. These considerations are when morals and standards of right or wrong are being obeyed in strategic public communication. A small mistake when using presentation aids can communicate a completely different and potentially damaging messages. So that's why there are a few guidelines that we can follow and consider when building and reviewing the using of presentation aids for your message. For example, the new Power presentation has been completed and the team can reviewing every slide to make sure all ethical issues have been resolved. Besides that is accurate visual. It is vital to use accurate visuals to produce a valid and ethical reflection of messages or ideas. It also can save you time because a picture speaks 1,000 words. As you can see in the slide, there are 3 examples for accurate visuals. The first example is a prop. Props can help people visualize things, especially for a small group presentations. If you are talking about geology, for instance, you might benefit from a few rock samples being passed around to your audience. The second example is a graph. If you are explaining about the relation between variables quantities, you can use graphs. Graphs can sometimes only show a certain time frame of information. And the third example for accurate visuals is an image. You can replace all the text or bullets from presentation and turn it into stunning visual in a minute. It is because images help audience quickly understand a material because generally we know that our brain process visuals much quicker than the text. As we know, pictures help other people understand something quickly by at a glance. For instance, as you can see in the slide, there is a picture of a child shouting. By seeing at it, audience will automatically know what is the meaning of shouting, why, when, how, and any other. So the presenter do not have to type a lot of text about shout. Next, the third content is do not downplay or ignore negative data. Ignoring negative data can give an impact. It is because it looks bad if the data keeps showing right and positive things only as if you don't want to accept the reality of imperfection. So it is best to address the negatives data with direct feedback and try to make improvements to solve any problems. For example, if you are selling a product for your assignment project and have over 100 of good reviews and half of it are negative reviews, it is not ethical to only feature the positive reviews in your report to your instructor. Hiding negative reviews of results might be ruin the marks of your assignment projects because you think it is not important but actually it is important. So it is bad to ignore negative data. The fourth content is to identify the sources. The important step in ethical consideration for presentation aids is to take notes of your source of research. Try to learn the information by remembering and understanding. The careful notes will help you. It is important to review your sources because it can make the speaker honest. Copying someone else's work or ignoring the source of information is considered as plagiarism. Plagiarism can lead to many consequences, from loss of credibility to academic expulsion or unemployment. Even with these potential consequences, plagiarism is still very common. However, it must be noted that not knowing the source of accounting should not be an excuse for unintentional stealing. In other words, the speaker is responsible for deliberate and unintentional plagiarism. That's all from me for today's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Fiona. My name is Chao Zi Hui. Now, I will present content number 5 is decide when to cite. When using presentation aids, you must verbally cite all information that is not general knowledge. Ethical presentation aids are not required to cite commonly known information. However, any information that is not general knowledge must be orally cited during the slideshow. The same is true in the text for the presentation aids outline. Cite all non-general information. Next, number 6 is cite sources properly. Citing sources is an important thing for all of us to understand and learn. So, you will realize what written informations are initial to the ethical process of presentation is, and let's focus on how to cite supporting presentation aids material. Based on studies show students often to avoid doing cite the sources because they are unsure of how or when to cite the reference. For the example is magazines, academic journal, and newspaper. We should write down the author, last name, first and middle initials, month and day of publication, title of the article, title of the publication, volume number, issue number, and pages. Now, number 7 is do not manipulate image to deceive audience. When we want correct, manipulate, and improve image in presentation aids using whatever of photo editor applications, we must deal with questions of both ethics and aesthetics. This discussion is not only limited to digital manipulations, but also includes standard darkroom methods. With digital processing, there is almost no limit to what can be done to an image, and many things are done to image with the best intentions. At the last, number 8 is do not violate copyright law. Anytime you use a copyright work, you must have permission from the owner of the work. The author or creator of the work may not be the owner of the work, so You must be careful in determining the true owner of the work. To use their work, you must have written permission to do so. The owner may ask how you want to use their work and how many times you will use it before they decide on how much they will charge you in order to use the work. In some cases, certain uses will be allowed and others not permitted for the same copyright work. As an example is McDonald's brand design. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi everyone, now I'm going to explain the argument on audiovisual aids with relevant examples. The audiovisual's ultimate goal is always to deliver selected information to all your audience within an existing. It means to grab with their own attention. For that, the presenter will analyze the types of audiovisuals in communication. One of the type is charts, like statistical chart, sequence of steps charts, and decision trees. The next type is audio and video. For an example, a product explaining video with a good audio always communicate very well with the audience. The following type is bar graph, such as line graph and pie graph. The next type of audiovisual presentation is multimedia, like animation, infographic, podcast, and more. An important point that the presenter need to know is the tips of using audiovisual aids in public communication. There are countless tips on using audiovisual aids. To make it clear, for example, making presentation which is easily seen or heard by audience, not writing out everything in the visual. Do not always look at the tools. Choosing appropriate slide colors, and lastly using less movement to keep audience stay focused. Now let's move on to the advantages and disadvantages of the audiovisual aids in public communication. It is a very debatable topic. Every digital invention and application in our life do have its own minus and plus partially. Although there are advantages like improving audience understanding, helping to recall, memorable for the audience, aiding varieties and interest, and enhancing speakers' credibility, while there are some disadvantages also. Sometimes it distracts the audience, lack of purpose, disconnect with speakers and audience, and lastly technical errors. It is very important to follow the ethics in using audiovisual aids for strategic public communication. It gives a guideline for the presenter to follow. There are few main ethics like ethical consideration, accurate visuals, ignoring negative data, identifying the sources, deciding when to cite, citing sources properly, do not manipulate images to deceive the audience, and last, do not violate copyright law. In a nutshell, audiovisual aids in strategic publication is so wide and deep as its efficiency in communication with the audience. Hope you guys do understand. On behalf of my team, thank you so much.